Hi there, welcome to the Afro Girl Diaries channel. My name is Belinda. If you're new here, welcome. Definitely show this channel some love by liking, subscribing, and also hitting the notification bell so that you get to know when there is new content out. Today I'm joined by my lovely friend Kylie. She's also a fellow YouTuber, so make sure after this video you head over to her channel. Her channel is called glowgetter.ke. So today, as in the UK, we're celebrating Black History Month, the whole month of October. So today's video will be in line with that. We'll be covering our own experiences as African women living in the UK. So just heading over, I'll just hand over to you, Kylie. If you could just introduce yourself, tell people about your YouTube channel, and also what you've been up to.
All right. Hi, guys. I'm so happy and excited to be here. It's actually my first collaboration on someone else's YouTube channel. So yeah, I'm excited to be here. My name is Kylie. Like Belinda said, I run a channel that goes by the name glowgetter.ke. I'm on YouTube, I'm on Instagram. I make YouTube videos. I saw from vlogs to lifestyle content to career to academic, depending on where I am in my life. I sort of just document that journey. I'm also scholarship content and just try and provide information where I can to also inspire and help people out. I'm currently a student, though I'm just waiting to graduate now. Doing my master's, and yeah, I'm happy to be here.
I'm honored that I'm your first collaboration on YouTube. Yay. That's exciting. Just to start off, if you could just tell us what Black history means to you.
Okay, so actually I didn't know about Black History Month until I came to the UK. Maybe understandably so, because Kenya is predominantly a Black country. Yeah, so it was quite interesting, but I think it's very necessary. It's quite needed, especially because Black people in this country are a minority. They sort of go through struggles that other maybe communities don't go through. So I think it's definitely important that at least their needs are highlighted, although I think the spirit of empowering Black people should run across the whole year, not just in 1 month. But I guess sometimes you have to start from somewhere. And yeah, so I definitely think Black History Month is a good opportunity, especially even for people to just learn about their history as Black people, or even for non-Black people to learn about the history of Black people, their experiences. And yeah, I'm for it. I'm a fan.
Yeah, it's an opportunity for all of us to get to know more about Black history, and especially now for us who are Kenyans. So we're both Kenyans, in case you didn't know. For us who are Kenyans who came here as adults to study and get some work experience, do you relate with Black history, especially earlier in the year when incidents like George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmed Arbery, when those incidents were happening? How did it affect you? Did you relate to those incidents? And how did it affect your life?
Okay, so I feel like for me, just someone being killed based off the color of their skin, I still felt it. Especially, I think because George Floyd's was one recorded, I was like, I can't even watch the full video. They actually killed him in front of us. Breonna Taylor's, it still breaks my heart today, up till today, because she hasn't gotten any justice. She was just sleeping, so it definitely has affected me. Maybe I'd say not to the extent that maybe it has affected someone who's grown up in America as a Black person, but I feel like a life lost based off color of skin, it doesn't matter where it is, it still, for me at least, would affect me.
Yeah. And there's some people who would say, those things are happening in the US. UK, we're fine, we're not racist. Do you have any incidents that, can highlight the opposite of that, that it actually is happening?
Before even I speak about, maybe personal things I've experienced or things I've seen from friends, there's even this whole Belly Mujenga, and she, I think, worked for Transport for London. She worked for the TfL, and someone spat on her and she got COVID, and she died. And this is a few months ago, during this Corona period. So I'd say um, that the UK is not that far from the US. I think in the US, maybe it's more highlighted, with their president, who. But I think even the UK is not at the good one, or the one that's free from all that. It also has its own challenges. I personally have had, like, I think maybe 2 or 3 incidents that have stood out to me. I was taking the bus, and this family, a white British family, and the kid was making jokes, like just nasty jokes about black people and how they are. And I thought like the mom would call him out on it, but they were just laughing with him, and I'm just like, okay. And I think, say, the third incident, I have a friend who was really struggling to get a place to live. So every time they would be like, yeah, you can have the house. And then as soon as they saw her and realized she was black with dreadlocks, they were just like, this house is no longer available. So there's definitely racism in this country.
It can be so frustrating, you not being given a house just purely because they can see you're black. Like what color of your skin, like what has that got to do with your ability to pay rent? It's quite frustrating.
Exactly. So I think this country, it also has its issues. More of the time, it's like overt. No, overt. What's the opposite? Subvert. Yeah, it's not as overt, but it's there. Definitely is there.
So during that time, during the George Floyd incident, where the whole world was speaking up about Black Lives Matter, did you feel inclined to do something to support the movement? And what exactly did you do?
I wasn't forced to do it, or felt obliged to do it, but I'd say I was convicted to say something. So I spoke about it online. I never attended any matches because, being on this visa, I'm like, in that aspect, I'll support from behind. But I tried to speak about it. I did raise it up as well in my law group, because I felt like people are not talking about it. And we're only 3 black people out of like 300 students. So raising that was, I think, a really bold, and one of those things where I was like, okay, it's something that needs to be said. So yeah, I did raise it in that group, spoke about it on social media, but that's about it. How about you? How was it for you?
Well, so for me, at first, things were quiet where I was working, so things were quite quiet. People were talking about it, of course, on social media. Every time you go on a break, you just see all the outrage on social media. But then when it's time to do work, everything is just the usual, which of course wasn't right. And people started having the conversation, and it seemed like it just needed one person to just bring up that topic, and then it's like you just open the whole Pandora's box, and everyone becomes vocal. And I'll be honest, there were some of the things they were saying, which if they didn't say them, I wouldn't have thought of it as an issue. You kind of become desensitized over time, and you just, survive. So there are some things being brought up, and you're like, actually, I've gone through a similar thing. It's not right. Actually, this isn't right. We should speak up about this. So it brought a lot of conversations to the forefront, which needed to be had, but had been put in the back burner for such a long time. So yeah, I definitely took part in terms of conversation, having the conversations, sharing my experiences, but I needed that boost a little bit. It's not like me who started the talk. It's more like following up and getting a bit more confidence, and also just from everyone else. Yeah.
I think it's definitely, like, it's important, and I think also realizing that everyone will have a different, like, role to play. Like, I think we were discussing this earlier, being like on the visa, we can't, you have to tread also very carefully, right? Because you have to try and think about like what's important to you and what matters the most to you at this particular point. And if that's your degree, if that's your job, if that's, where you are currently, then you wouldn't just, like, you have to also ensure, you're on the right side of the law and stuff. So Yeah.
And in your experience as a student, and also now that you're getting some work experience, do you feel that your color, you being African, it has impacted basically your experience, and maybe do you feel it would have been easier if you were Caucasian?
Wow. I think yes, to some extent. Like, I don't know if it's because when people of power are all like are all look a certain type of way, then they're more likely to favor people who look like them. I don't know if that's like a statement, but I think it would have been a bit easier to maneuver studying in this country as a white woman. Because as a black, especially as a black woman, there's so many things that you have to like think about. You're fighting a battle on like both, like you're fighting it on the race end and on the gender end. I don't know. Definitely think it would have been easier. Although I do, and I don't know if that's because of all the, like nowadays it's popping to be black. It's popping to be black in these days. I don't know if that has played a role in making it like good. Like it's cool. It's a good thing. Like I'm comfortable in my skin, but it definitely I think it took time. It took time for me to be like, you know what, I deserve a seat on the table. And if they're not gonna give me a seat, I'm gonna pick the seat myself and sit down.
Create your own table.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, building that confidence, it took a while to be like, you know what, I deserve to be here just as much as everyone else does, if not even more. Because some people, it's a bit questionable, but I'm like I should never feel like I'm less than just because I'm black or from Africa. And I think that also has to do a lot with like we came to this country as adults. You've already sort of like you already know who you are. You've never had to fight that race battle as in Kenya. So when you're coming here, forgive my Kiswahili, but unajijua, like you know yourself, right? So I think if you grew up here, it's slightly different.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think they definitely have different struggles compared to us, because ours is more like trying to fit in compared to them. Literally, they've grown up, and it's not like they're going to go home anywhere. Like this is their home. So it's definitely different set of struggles.
Yeah.
Is there anything you'd consciously do to help yourself, like to make your experiences better? Is there anything you consciously do with your blackness? Just putting it on there.
So while I was in school, no, not really. I'm like, yeah, in fact, I'm going paying school fees, guys. Like, so I didn't have to really think about it. But in the workplace, like currently doing like a law related job, and yeah, I have to think about the wig I wear, like, the length. I have to ensure that my hairstyle is consistent just because I don't want the focus to shift from, the work we're doing to, oh my goodness, her hair is like this, or she's wearing this tight pants, so that, sure, because this is also a generalization, and maybe it's not a black thing, maybe it's like a curvy thing, because I know they're not all black women are curvy, and that's also like a stereotype that we shouldn't keep putting out there. But let me say, many black women are, and so for me, there's so many things I think about my hair, what I wear. Like I see some things people wear, and I'm like, wow, must be nice. I wish I could dare. But the things I don't know, I've never done it and been told not to do that. But it's like I have it in me to think.
Yeah. Okay. And interviews, so during interviews, it was the same case, just checking like your hairstyle, the outfit that you've worn. Anything else you did during the interviews that you knew, okay, I have to be conscious of this because I want to be portrayed a certain way?
I think it's just, there's this perception of being like angry, being an angry black woman. So just being, like having to think twice before I speak, having to think, okay, having to think about how this can be taken before I say it, yeah, but also to be fair, I've not had like many interviews yet, so I wouldn't say, maybe I've had one. I wouldn't say like I have experience, but I feel like even if I was to go into an interview now, there's so many things I have to think about. Like, okay, how does this come across?
Yeah.
Does it come across as me shouting? Like, is it friendly? Am I approachable? Which is it's sad, but it's a reality.
That too. But it's, I guess, especially with the current focus and, companies being put in the limelight for, not being diverse enough. So now there's a lot more attention, and companies have to, prove and kind of show that they're being diverse and they're considering, all the different outcries on microaggressions. I think now it will work in our favor to be Black. The spotlight will be on us.
Will it be a thing of where it's like just ticking a box, or will it actually be like, you know what? Because I feel like until someone understands the value of having diversity, like it doesn't matter what you tell them, even if you put in rules, they will do it just because it's a rule. But is it really diverse, or is it just okay? We have one Black person in our team, we're diverse. Or
We've, we've met our numbers.
met our numbers and we're good to go. Like, I don't know. It's a very tough. It's a tough one. Also because for them they're also concerned about making money. At the end of the day, most of these companies, their businesses.
I think that it can only be through results, because changing people's attitude, that's just one of the things that unfortunately is not in our control at all. So if institutionally those things are made right, in terms of at least 5% of this should be, Black, and 50% should be women, those actual hard rules are set, then with time, when they see that actually we're still performing well, we're still making profit, and when there are more people like us at the top, then they're more likely to favor us a bit more. When you have someone at the table, having a seat at the table, then your cries will probably be heard compared to when there's none. So it's a process, I think. Yeah.
Then it's also a responsibility, sort of like. But also, should it be? It should be responsibility for people who have gone there before, be able to look. Imagine they can actually be more than one Black person in this team, and they're not feeling like they are sort of like, because if it's just a quota, then they'll be intimidated if someone else comes in, maybe with a bit more talent than them, fresh ideas. Then it's like, oh my goodness, what if she's coming for my job?
True.
Why can't it be like, there's room for all of us? There's a way I can sort of set the way so that it's a bit easier for you to come in. Like, you don't have to struggle
The same way.
right?
Yeah, it's a collective responsibility. Everyone has to play their part.
Yeah.
So what would you advise someone who's coming here, from Kenya, from South Africa, from, an minority country, and they're coming here maybe to study or to work? What would you advise them, just so that they have maybe a better experience than you had?
One is know your worth, know yourself, so that even when you're coming, even if someone tries to tell you who you are, like if you already know who you are, then like you sort of have like either thick skin, or like you won't take it to heart. One. And two, also just know your why. It's easy to come and get like very frustrated. They were talking about like, coming and then you want to like be leading the marches. You also now have to think about, okay, how can I ensure that I'm on the right side of the law? How can I stand up for what I think is right without, jeopardizing what I already have? I think it's also just being tactical, So say, for instance, if you feel like you have been offended, or if in a certain situation, then use different platforms. For instance, in universities, or in your job, go to a focus group, and as opposed to just, like, remember you're different from, just because you look alike, just because you and someone who's British look alike, at the end of the day, remember you're not a British. So protect your visa.
And even when you get that, when you're naturalized, like when you're still they can still take it away. If they can find a way, if you break the law, I think there's a way they can deport you if you're in prison for more than a certain length of time. So you're still not off the leash if you finally get the citizenship. So they're definitely different.
Yeah, just be careful also. Like, yeah, I think those are my main tips. I don't know if I feel like I've spoken a lot, and maybe your experiences, like, because I think you've been here longer than I have been here, and you've also worked here. I've not worked in this country like officially, so you may also have like your 2 cents to add, and I'd also be interested in hearing like maybe your tips or maybe your experiences.
Yeah. So I've been here 7 years. Actually, it was 7 years in September. This month that's just ended. And yeah, it's my experiences have been different along the way. As a student, you encounter different types of experiences. When you start working, it's different. So I really agree with what you said. Actually, you basically said it. Know yourself, know your worth. And I'd just say someone to just, you have to prove yourself harder. Like you have to work harder. You have to consider what you say. Like you basically have to be on your toes each time, which is unfortunate, but you just have to know the reality. Like when I'm doing work, I have to be like, am I really happy with what I've done? Like I go through it again. When maybe someone else would be like, I'm tired. This is just what I'm going to submit. I have to think, okay, I've done this, and there's an opportunity here. So I find myself jumping on opportunities much faster compared to my colleagues, just because I'm just thinking I need to prove myself. Like there's that drive within me. Just because I know, for me to actually stand out, it takes much more effort compared to someone else.
Like you can't be mediocre. You have to be excellent.
Yeah, and you have to be slow to anger, because there's that stereotype of angry Black woman. So you take a walk. If you need to take a walk, go and take a walk. Be strategic, as you mentioned, in how you voice your cries. Basically, you have to look at the bigger picture and don't just think of the emotion you have at that moment. That's why it's good to just get through that first and see how is it best to address this. You should still be vocal. So people shouldn't walk over you, but you should just know how to do it. Yeah. Thank you so much, Kylie. I know we have a live tomorrow. Of course, by the time this video comes out, we'll have already had the live, but you're going to save it in your IGTV.
It's gonna be on there already.
Yeah.
Thank you for me as well. This has been so informative. At first, I was not sure how this will go, because especially when you are an international, it's a bit different, right? And no one really has that conversation about it from our lens. It's always okay, you're either Black, British, or you're not. But then there's this group of people now like us who it's so where do we fit in, all of this. So yeah, I think it's a good conversation we've had. You should keep it going, and yeah, I'm so glad that you had me on here.
I'm so happy to have you here as well. I'm looking forward to our live tomorrow, and hopefully you can have even more discussions, because this is just the tip of the iceberg. I haven't even gotten started with my struggles with immigration and getting through the airport. Oh my God, if I get started on that, we'll be here for 1 hour. But let's definitely continue this conversation. And people, if you have any questions for me or for Kylie, definitely put them in the description box. But otherwise, have a good day.